So there was a period in my life a few years ago. I was 25 or so. Maybe that's a little more than a few years, but there was a period in my life where I had smoked weed for the first time, or rather marijuana, I think is the more correct technical term. And it was a very bad experience for me. It was more like looking back on it, it was more like a hallucinogenic or a mushroom or salvia or a DMT, bad trip type of experience. As far as normal time goes, the trip lasted about 2 hours, but to me it felt like forever. And a few of the thoughts that I had that I remember during this experience, one of which was, if I ever get out of this, then I'm never, ever, ever smoking marijuana ever again. And the other thought I had was that the plant itself was tricking people and enticing them to smoke it to get whatever it gets out of them by them interacting with the plant. And it's actually a hell realm for people who smoke or ingest some form of edible cannabis. And the thoughts that were going through my mind at that time were that people are outwardly displaying happiness and being high and things that would make observers think that they're having a great experience, when actually they're having a torturous experience, but they're not able to display that on the outside. That was the sort of theory that I came up with after going through this experience. And I don't know. I really don't know what other people. And of course, what would go along with that theory is that the individuals that do smoke this and transport themselves into this torture hell realm are given amnesia once they come out of it, and they're given, the carrot again to continually smoke. I don't know. It's possible. Could be, might not be. I know we all suffer a great deal of amnesia about what's really going on here. I feel it in myself for a fact. Like, I know it's whatever this place is, we're blocked from remembering or knowing. So going along with that experience, after that, I had a very tough time integrating it and letting it go. And I went through a lot of trauma and anxiety and panic attacks for years afterward. I can say that at this point in my life, I don't suffer from these panic attacks anymore, but I still have that knowledge. I have that very deep remembrance of what it was, although it doesn't negatively affect me superficially anyway. Maybe deep down it's still causing pain and suffering, but I don't know. Anyway, what I wanted to get to really was I've been following Seven Bomar, his work on YouTube, and I'm in the process of reading his book, The Code to the Matrix. And I'm attracted to his style. Whenever somebody is not appearing to have an agenda that's serving only one specific group of individuals, and I'm kind of attracted to them. I guess if you were to say he's only serving one group of individuals, he's serving the living, which is the group that I place myself within, not the robot zombie population. And we're just different, very obviously different from the vast majority of the rest of the population. It's just, that's what it is. There's nothing else to say about it. As to what we're doing with it, what I do with it, aside from feeling kind of isolated from the world is I search out other individuals that appear to be in a similar mind as me, and kind of plot my path that way, because the normal life, the normal society, the normal thing that's going on here is, it's just gross to me. I'm not with it at all, not in any way, shape, or form. I only do what I absolutely have to be involved in the sick system that is here. And I have levels of sickness in me. I feel them, I feel that I'm disconnected from source, disconnected from purity, disconnected from, I just get glimpses of what it was like to not be in the fallen state or the trapped state that we're in here. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a trapped prison planet, prison mental space for living souls, living beings, yeah. And we are not particularly welcome here, even though we're stuck here. By the majority, we're not very welcome. And it's, we just have to deal with it in whatever way. I dealt with mine by drinking a lot when I was younger, when I was in the relationship with Kim, and that kind of sedated all of my other natural urgings and curiosities and things like that. But I haven't been drinking for over a year now, and it's not any more pleasant, really. It's just that I'm having to confront what I need to confront rather than medicate myself. So another thing I was doing in this period of my life when I was mid-20s, I'm almost 32 now. Another thing I was doing was, I was so sick and tired of the stuff, just the stuff. Like, even the act of being was the lived moment, the present experience was just a painful, oozing. I can't even describe it. Words can't describe what it is. So another thing I was doing during this period of time was I was sick of deception and manipulation and ego manipulation, special interests, hypocrisy. I was just sick of all these things that are just everywhere, And I'm pure myself. I don't put on pretenses. I act to a certain extent in society and play the proper roles to interact with other normal humans, but that's not me. When I'm talking to somebody real, I'm much different. So another thing I was going through during this period was, like I said, I was sick of all this stuff, so I was trying to reach out to source or the wisdom, the we all know what it is. It's source, wisdom, God, the Tao, that which has no name, the life force that powers everything. That's what I was reaching out to, and I was asking. I wanted the truth. I wanted the real truth. I wanted to see it. I wanted to look at whatever it was, if it was possible to look at it. And I asked for that. And one night, after asking for this truth very fervently and just upset, raging, I was sleeping, and I saw somehow while I was sleeping, I saw, or I was shown, this cube. It was some sort of a cube. I don't remember exactly the dimensions or the sides of it. I kind of feel like it was a square, like if you took a four-sided two-dimensional shape and make it three-dimensional, a box. I saw this box thing and I couldn't look at it. It was so gross and terrifying. Just like, I wasn't there for very long. I had to get away from whatever that was really fast. So I popped back into the physical plane from wherever I saw that thing from, and I had, I kind of lost control at that point, and I wasn't drinking or smoking or anything. I was not under any influence of any other substance. And I was with Kim at this time, living in our apartment. I got up in the middle of the night and I just walked around, like I was like making sounds like whew. I don't even remember exactly what I was doing, but I was having some physical reaction. I was like hitting my forehead, and I was walking around in circles in the living room. I don't know, I can't really say that I had control or I didn't have control during this experience, but I do know that it was just bleak. The whole thing was bleak. It was not, there was no good or nothing of that sort, no wisdom, knowledge, God, nothing of that in that experience. Although at the same time, while I was, walking around, hitting my head, making these sounds, at the same time, I wasn't really like terrified or scared or anything at that point. I was more kind of watching it happen. I was a little bit detached while that was happening, and Kim called my mother, or she called, yeah, I think she called my mom. She called somebody and said, Gary's freaking out. And so I talked to my mom, and I was telling her, I was basically saying that I had died and that it was all over and that nothing was real. And I was like listing off all the siblings. I was saying their names and saying, that they didn't matter, that they weren't real. I was just in a very sort of nihilistic absurdism, Albert Camus point of view. And my mom, she started crying and she was very upset about what was going on. And that didn't even affect me. Like, somehow I lost a certain emotion, a certain ability to connect at that point. I think partially as a defense mechanism against whatever it was that I had seen. And what followed that, I had panic attacks over the years, and sometimes would have to stay with my mom, and she would just kind of comfort me through it. I haven't had those in a long time. I'm pretty stable right now as far as that goes. I'm much more on the search strongly. I'm not giving in to impulses as much, giving into negative forces, and it's very quiet here now. I don't have things influencing me, at least not obviously at all anymore. I'm very much with myself and exploring at the same time, and also having to deal with acquiring money and all that yicky stuff of this society that's been created for us. But when I would tell people about this experience, another experience that goes along with this was earlier. this was also, I was sleeping with Kim, and it was in her apartment. It wasn't in, this was before we were living together. I'm assuming these all connect somehow. This wasn't, I didn't ask for anything to sort of get this thing happening. It kind of happened on its own. But what did happen was I was sleeping, and out of the blue, I got woken up, and something was being told to me. I won't say revelation, because revelation is usually connotated as a good thing. Something somehow was telling me that I didn't exist, and it was almost like myself, or it was very ironic if myself was telling me that I didn't exist. Sorry about that. But I was getting this very strong, it was knowledge. I was perceiving it as knowledge and direct truth, and I wasn't able to combat it at all. I was completely helpless in whatever. If it was an entity, maybe it was, I don't know if it was or not. I don't know who or what it was or how it happened, but whatever message it was conveying, it was something like that I didn't exist. And it hit me so hard and so deeply that I got up, started pacing the living room. I was in disbelief. I was just like whispering. I was like, no, there's no way. Over and over and over again. And I eventually, at that point, I had this feeling like I wanted to jump in front of a car or something. Like there's sometimes this feeling wells up in me. It's just like a frantic train coming sort of a feeling. And nothing ever actually materializes, because I usually resist quite strongly whatever the feeling is. And but as opposed to jumping in front of a car, I've never been suicidal. I've had dark thoughts, but instead of acting on any of these impulses, I woke Kim up and just told her, I was kind of freaking out, and she walked me up and down the street. I think we didn't call anybody at that point, but I did get calmed down, and as you can see, I'm here now, so so nothing too terrible has come of it, for me physically at least, but I have had a lot of mental repercussions. I mean, it's all a growth process, at the same time as there are incredibly dark forces, very subtle forces that I can feel on just such a subtle level here in this realm. But anyway, I talked to a few people about that experience afterward. My older brother, I talked to him about it, and he was saying that's just an entity. That's, of course you exist. Just look, it's very obvious. He was just saying that's just it's just some entity, doing power games or trying to use fear manipulation or something like that. So yeah, those are kind of my bad life experiences that I've had so far, and they've made me kind of into a somber individual. I'm pretty calm, actually, for all of the things, the spiritual things that I've been through. As far as this normal life stuff, it's very tame compared to any of that. And I allow myself to kind of rage at the system and the normal antics that happen here. But when you contrast that with spiritual stuff, the physical manifestation reality, the matrix or whatever, the 3D paradigm doesn't even compare. It's not even in the same arena whatsoever. It's completely different. So to tie this back into the original purpose of the video was as I'm reading Seven's book, The Code to the Matrix, and he's talking about the shapes, and how he mentioned something about Pythagoras developing a method for entrapping souls in geometric shapes. And also, when I saw this cube thing, it reminded me of the Kabbalah, or whatever religion it is that has that big black cube in the middle of it. I don't know. I don't do a lot of research on... With the stuff I've seen, I have kind of shied away from allowing any knowledge to stick in my head, because I see the power of persuasion of these things, and I've been very guarded. So, but anyway, this cube that I saw, and Seven mentioning that idea of souls or living entities being trapped in hexagonal structures, or you have the pentagon. There's all sorts of geometric shapes in our society, and if you're thinking about the elite or the control structures or whatever, they all use them. They all use magic. They all use spells. They all use manipulation, and it's all dark energy. It's all, none of it is aimed at real living communion with other beings, just beings being genuine, entities being genuine, not serving some sort of nefarious structure or power play type of thing. But yeah, so just let me know, you guys, what you think about these experiences I've had. I haven't told too many people about them, and I certainly haven't told too many people about them that have eyes to see, so to speak, or that can understand maybe on a deeper level what it was that I was witnessing or being confronted with. So maybe you, my YouTube crowd, small as it is, some of you individuals might understand or be able to shed some light on what I've shared here today. And what are your thoughts on living entities or souls being trapped in sort of geometric shapes or geometric structures? Anyway, that's all I have for today. I'm doing Uber for 30 days, Lyft for 30 days. I'm gonna save up some dirty green paper in the form of electronic numbers in the bank account, so I can have some peace from that thing for a little while. Anyway, I'm gonna take off now, so everybody take care. Give me some comments. All of your comments are very much appreciated, and yeah, we're all in this together, at least those of us who are alive, those of us who are awake to whatever degree. So let's help each other out, yeah? All right, guys, take care. Bye.